Judges 20. All the Israelites from Dan to Beersheba and from the land of Gilead left their homes and assembled together before the Lord at Mizpah. The leaders of all the people from all the tribes of Israel took their place in the assembly of God's people, which numbered 400,000 sword-wielding foot soldiers. The Benjamites heard that the Israelites had gone to Mizpah. Then the Israelites said, "Explain how this wicked thing happened." The Levite husband of the murdered woman spoke up. "I and my concubine stopped in Gibeah in the territory of Benjamin to spend the night. The leaders of Gibeah attacked me and at night surrounded the house where I was staying. They wanted to kill me. Instead, they abused my concubine so badly that she died. I took hold of my concubine and carved her up and sent the pieces throughout the territory occupied by Israel because they committed such an unthinkable atrocity in Israel. All you Israelites, make a decision here." All Israel rose up in unison and said, "Not one of us will go home. Not one of us will return to his house. Now this is what we will do to Gibeah. We will attack the city as the lot dictates. We will take 10 of every group of 100 men from all the tribes of Israel, and 100 from every group of 1,000, 1,000 from every group of 10,000 to get supplies for the army. When we arrive in Gibeah of Benjamin, we will punish them for the atrocity that they have committed in Israel." So all the men of Israel gathered together at the city as allies. The tribes of Israel sent men throughout the tribe of Benjamin, saying, "How could such a wicked thing take place? Now hand over the good-for-nothings in Gibeah so we can execute them and purge Israel of wickedness." But the Benjamites refused to listen to their Israelite brothers. The Benjamites came from their cities and assembled at Gibeah to make war against the Israelites. That day the Benjamites mustered from their cities 26,000 sword-wielding soldiers, besides 700 well-trained soldiers from Gibeah. Among this army was 700 specially trained left-handed soldiers. Each one could sling a stone and hit even the smallest target. The men of Israel, not counting Benjamin, had mustered 400,000 sword-wielding soldiers, every one an experienced warrior. The Israelites went up to Bethel and asked God, "Who should lead the charge against the Benjamites?" The Lord said, "Judah should lead." The Israelites got up the next morning and moved against Gibeah. The men of Israel marched out to fight Benjamin. They arranged their battle lines against Gibeah. The Benjamites attacked from Gibeah and struck down 22,000 Israelites that day. The Israelite army took heart and once more arranged for battle lines in the same place where they had taken their positions the day before. The Israelites went up and wept before the Lord until evening. They asked the Lord, "Should we again march out to fight the Benjamites, our brothers?" The Lord said, "Attack them." So the Israelites marched towards the Benjamites the next day. The Benjamites again attacked them at Gibeah and struck down 18,000 sword-wielding Israelite soldiers. So all the Israelites, the whole army, went up to Bethel. They wept and sat there before the Lord. They did not eat anything that day until evening. They offered up burnt sacrifices and tokens of peace to the Lord. The Israelites asked the Lord, for the ark of God's covenant was there in those days. Phinehas, son of Eleazar, son of Aaron, was serving the Lord in those days. "Should we march once more out to fight the Benjamites, our brothers, or should we quit?" The Lord said, "Attack, for tomorrow I will hand them over to you." So the Israelites hid men in ambush outside Gibeah. The Israelites attacked the Benjamites the next day. They took their positions against Gibeah just as they had done before. The Benjamites attacked the army, leaving the city unguarded. They began to strike down their enemies just as they had done before on the main road. One leads to Bethel, the other to Gibeah. And in the field they struck down about 30 Israelites. Then the Benjamites said, "They are defeated just as before." But the Israelites said, "Let's retreat and lure them away from the city into the main roads." All the men of Israel got up from their places and took their position at Baal-Tamar, while the Israelites hid in ambush, jumped out of their places west of Gibeah. Then 10,000 men, well-trained soldiers from Israel, made a frontal assault against Gibeah. The battle was fierce, but the Benjamites did not realize that disaster was at their doorstep. The Lord annihilated Benjamin before Israel. The Israelites struck down that day 25,100 sword-wielding Benjamites. Then the Benjamites saw they were defeated. The Israelites retreated before Benjamin because they had confidence in the men that had hidden in ambush outside Gibeah. The men hiding in ambush made a mad dash to Gibeah. They attacked and put the sword to the entire city. The Israelites and the men hiding in ambush had arranged a signal. When the men hiding in ambush sent up a smoke signal from the city, the Israelites counterattacked. Benjamin had begun to struck down the Israelites. They struck down about 30 men. They said, "There's no doubt about it. They are totally defeated as in earlier battles." But when the signal, a pillar of smoke, began to rise up from the city, the Benjamites turned around and saw the whole city going up in a cloud of smoke that rose high into the sky. When the Israelites turned around, the Benjaminites panicked because they could see the disaster was on the doorsteps. They retreated before the Israelites, taking the road to the wilderness. But the battle overtook them as men from the surrounding cities struck them down. They surrounded the Benjamites, chased them from Nohah, and annihilated them all the way to the spot east of Gibeah. So 18,000 Benjamites, all of them capable soldiers, fell dead. The rest turned around and ran toward the wilderness, heading toward the cliff of Rimmon. But the Israelites caught 5,000 of them on the main road. They stayed right on their heels all the way to Gidam and struck down 2,000 more. That day, 25,000 sword-wielding Benjamites fell in battle, all of them capable men. But 600 survivors turned and ran away to the wilderness, to the cliff of Rimmon. They stayed there 4 months. The Israelites returned to the Benjamite towns and put the sword to them. They wiped out cities, the animals, and everything they could find. They set fire to every city in their path. All right. So we've got war going on. And it says civil war. I don't know, like, the title at the beginning here. This is one reason I do not like titles. I usually have them turned off. Is it says civil war. Civil war would imply that there's a division among all of the people, not one faction, not 1/12, okay? One tribe is being punished for acts that tribe has done. It's not civil war, people. This is not civil war, okay? It's not, people dividing over for other issues. Like I said, there's one reason I usually... See, it's clicked not to show heading, so I have to click turn them on and then turn them off instead of just leaving it turned off and never turning them on. Okay. Complaining about the site that I use. I know. I do that. All right. So we have the people of Israel, the men of Israel respond to, you know what? Yeah, you don't understand how war can be civil. Exactly. What's so civil about war anyway? So we have the body of the concubine was sent out. Yes, This is a time where the Israel has no kings, Joel. Exactly. We're in the time of judges. There's no kings yet. So we have judges who, and don't think of a Supreme Court judge. Think of someone who leads the people, maybe more, and I don't know. We've talked about it other times, but it's not the judge sitting on a court bench kind of a thing. They are the leaders of the time. And this story is not giving us a leader of the time. It's just another story during this time period between Joshua and the Israel establishing kings, where it continually says Israel did what was right in their own eyes. Hey, shiny penny, good morning. So the 12 pieces of the concubine's body go out. Israel responds. They've assembled 400,000 foot soldiers, and they say, tell us the story. So and this is a whitewashed version of the story. I and my concubine stopped in Gibeah in the territory of Benjamin to spend the night. Yeah, nothing in here about how you left too late at night and you didn't choose to go into a non-Israelite city, which you could have done. And then when you found out that, hey, nobody was being hospitable, you didn't go somewhere else. You just pick up the story of, we were attacked at night because we were in a house where we were staying, and they wanted to kill me. They didn't want to kill you, friend. They wanted to do other stuff to you, but they didn't want to kill you. Instead of killing me, so he's not being totally honest with the whole story here. They abused my concubine so bad she died. Yeah, you're the one who sent her out. You didn't protect her, buddy. So I'm not excusing what they did. I'm just pointing out the way he's telling the story is to his own benefit and for him to seek vengeance upon everything. So then Israel is like, we need to do something about this. It is atrocious. We need to do something about this unthinkable thing. So all Israel raised up and said, we're going to do something about it. Now, what I like that they do here is they go out throughout all of Benjamin and say, how could you allow this wicked thing to happen? Hand over the city and the perpetrators of this. Like, we don't have to destroy everybody. We just want justice for what happened. Just go to the city, send out those people that did this, and we'll exact punishment on them. And the whole tribe of Benjamin is like, no, we are going to defend them because they're our relatives. We're going to defend them because they're our relatives. We're not going to hand them over. Like, really? Really? Like, you're outnumbered. There are 400,000. Like, logic would dictate you should hand them over. Like, just logically, you're not going to win. Okay? The numbers are not for you. And the people did wrong. It's not like you're protecting someone who was not in the wrong. All right, let me get caught up on anything in chat. It could be like they're the judge, the jury, and the executioner. If I'm wrong, let you know. That's how you take it. They are men with authority. Well, it's not exactly that, Southside TV Love, because they are often leading people. Some of them are called for specific battles against the enemies of Israel. So they might take on the role of prophet, priest, or king. Some will be only in the realm of a prophet, like Deborah was, who is going to be deciding things and instructing people and hearing from God. And so she's acting in that role, while there is warriors who surround her who take on the role of doing action. And then you have like Gideon, who is prophet, priest, well, maybe not. He's prophet and king, I guess. He's not priest, although he does establish some stuff that is priest-like that ends up going bad. But he is prophet. He hears from God. He has an encounter with an angel. He is going to deliver. He is like king, warrior, doing that. So they take on one or more of those roles of prophet, priest, king, and they're the ones in the time period there. Shahiru, judges also time similar to ours now because God is silent in the time. There are no prophets overall. I know your point, but I wouldn't say God's silent because we have all of his word here to be able to read. So Yeah, you tell him, FlatCap. He's doing wrong. Yeah. Nothing changes how people will sometimes tell a story. Oh, shiny penny, exactly. I'm going to tell it to my advantage. Yeah, you wondered how he told us? Yeah, because he wants them to respond a certain way, and he knows how to say the story to get the response that he wants. Thank you for the fruit. Was Joshua a judge? No. Joshua would have been, well, I guess, yes, in some ways. He's not considered a judge, but if you take the role of prophet and king, that's part of what he takes on. There's not like another prophet during his time, but he is not priest because Aaron's sons are priests during Joshua. Yeah, he's a warrior, so he's definitely taking the king role of leading. Yeah, of peopling. Yeah, you had he told the story the correct way, would he have been in trouble, like suffered greatly? Shiny penny, I don't know how they would have judged his actions. It may not have been different, but he certainly wouldn't have looked as good. I'm not sure. I mean, he's telling the story. He skips to the part where the wrong happens. I'm just pointing out there's actions he took that could have prevented this, and he certainly doesn't care for her. And if he did actions previously, and if you weren't here for this, she ran away from his household back to dad and was there either for 4 months or, depending upon the textual variant, it could be a year and 4 months before he decides to go get her and try to persuade her to come back. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that's outside the story that paints him less than honorable, and that's all I'm trying to point out is even in his telling of the story, he remains unhonorable to a degree. All right. So back to what's happening in the text. The Benjamites refuse to turn over the people who did it, and then they've got 26,000 sword wielders. They have 26,000 against 400,000. I mean, it's not even 10 to 1. It's like 15 to 1. Like, do you really think you're going to win? Do you really think you're going to win? And then there's this little tidbit in here. There are 700 specially trained left-handed soldiers with the sling. Oh, does this one say with the sling? Yeah. Yeah, each could sling a stone at even the smallest target. I think it usually is translated at a hair. A single hair and not miss. So, like, you put a hair sticking up alfalfa sprout, and boom, they could pick that hair off from whatever distance. They were that specialized, and they were left-handed. Benjamin is singled out repeatedly as being mentioned as left-handed. They're singled out as slingers. Now, maybe you've not noticed this point before. I'll bring it up when we get there, but it'll be a while. Is that Saul is of the tribe of Benjamin. David, when he goes against Goliath, is a sling wielder from the tribe of Judah. Okay? There's a whole bunch of shame on the actions of Saul and what Saul does. The fact that David is a sling wielder, not from Benjamin, when King Saul is from the tribe of Benjamin and could have elite soldiers among him and could have been trained in an elite way, and it doesn't. I mean, there's a whole bunch more in that story. Just pointing it out here, not going to go into more detail, but just like, hey, notice that's the tribe that Saul comes from. Yeah, man was sus, but God is good, so that's why we have Jesus, yes. Shiny Penny took about faith of a mustard seed. Oh, yeah. Okay, so back to here. We have the 700 trained men, not counting the Benjamites. There are 400, so it's again reminding us there's 400. They're outnumbered. Will they stand? Will they win? Now, here's an interesting thing. I love this piece of the story. So a lot of times in the story, we have people doing whatever they want on their own site. Here, all the tribes of Israel assembled together go and inquire of God. They go to God and inquire of him who should lead us to battle. Now, it's usually Judah. And when we go through the natural times of when Moses was told who should go up to battle first, Judah is usually the one who leads. So Judah, again, is the one who should lead. So they went up and said, who should lead us into battle? and it's Judah is where the lot fell. They go up, and 22,000 Israelites are dead. So they're facing, what was that number, 26,000? They're facing 26,000, and they end up with 22,000 dead. Like, you would think this would have went well. Then they go back, and they say, should we go and march again tomorrow? And the message is go attack. And they lose 18,000 the next day. So they have lost 40,000 men. They have lost 10%. They've lost 10% of their men, which is greater than the number of the army that they are attacking. Then they go, and notice what they do here. I love these details. They go up to Bethel. They are weeping. They are sitting there before the Lord. They do not eat anything until evening. So they're weeping before the Lord. It doesn't specifically say they're sitting in sackcloth and ashes and fasting. But boy, it sure sounds very similar to it. Maybe because they're in their military outfits and they can't fully actually put sackcloth on. They're doing what they can to model and mimic what it is. They are fasting and mourning before the Lord until evening. They offer burnt sacrifices, tokens of peace, and they ask God, should we go up? And now they've gone a step further, and they have gone to Phinehas, and they've gone to the ark and asked what we should do. Should we march once more against our brothers, or should we quit? The answer is attack. Tomorrow I'll hand them over. I love that they're continuously going before God. Yes, it is a repeat of Saul versus David, Benjamin versus Judah. Yes, Slinger. Yep, gleeful sheep. Yeah, that's why I was bringing it up. It's like this little tidbit that you can see a connection there. This isn't over. This isn't over. So they go and they do a ruse. This ruse sounds very, very similar to Ai. They went against Ai and they were defeated. They tried to go against Ai, they were defeated. And then they inquire of God. They make it right whose sin it was. Here they inquire of God, ask if they should do it again. They go and they put an ambush. What did they do at Ai? They went and they did an ambush. What did they do? Burn the city. It's like they are studying their own history. They're pulling the Battle of Ai here on the city there, and it turns in their favor. And they defeat them, and they're chasing them, and there's remnants, and they're counterattacking, and they're running away. And where was the number? 600 survivors turned and ran to the wilderness, to the cliff of Rimmah. And rather than being able to fully track them down, they end up staying there for 4 months. But in that 4-month period of time, they are going and setting fire to every city in their path. They are going throughout the land and wiping out the Benjamites. Let's see, what do we have on there? All the cities that were found, they set on fire. Yeah, well, that would have been hard killing your own family. Well, it's not their own tribe. So I agree with you, it would be, but that's why I think that's why they put the title Civil War, because it is brother fighting against brother, relative fighting against relative. But that's such a common theme throughout history, is that family fights family. And actually, you are more likely, if there is a murder, to be murdered by someone you know. Now, maybe it's not family, but still, it is someone that you know, not a stranger. So we are prone to that action of harming people we are in relationship with.